got a lot of clients coming in at the moment, Liz, and they don't seem to know really the ins and outs of purchasing a property. The new properties, the vacant land that we're buying with building contracts, are not too bad because the developers are there to walk the clients through the process. But in terms of existing properties that people are looking to get in on, perhaps you could walk us through how they do that from the time that they find a property on the internet that they like.
So there's a couple of things to be mindful of. And I'm gonna kind of lean into both sides of this. When you buy new off the plan from a developer, our recommendation is always first things first. Send your land contract through to your conveyancer straight away. When you're looking at a standard HIA contract, please don't sign anything that's not a HIA contract. When you're looking at a HIA contract, there's some really important things that you need to be looking out for, and it's all in the Consumer Affairs Guide at the front of that contract. And if they don't have that fixed and they don't include that, do not sign that contract. Call your conveyancer or your lawyer straight away. And I would strongly suggest if there's no HIA and there's no consumer guidelines at the front, they're probably not the right people to be building with. Builders notoriously don't want to take you through the build contract. So if you've got a great mate like me or me or Mel, you do HIA contracts?
Yes.
Let's see. Tell you, not just a great gingerbread baker, but also pretty amazing. What do you think of the HIA contracts? Do you like them?
Look, I think they're fairly good. I think they're weighted reasonably evenly. The only issue that we tend to find is the variations clauses, and that's because people never follow the variations clauses. They don't do the notice in writing. They sort of think, oh, it'll all be well. And that's on the builder's side and on the purchaser's side as well. But other than that, I think they're fairly good. And you know what you're getting locked into. It's standard provisions. Whereas if you use a non-HIA, it could have anything in it.
If they don't have a HIA contract and a master builder's license, you do not want to deal with them. And I can say that because we're not really sitting as and pointing at anyone particularly. But if you
No.
want to know, just ring us and we'll tell you. Okay, so you're looking in the market and you want to buy an existing home.
And you found this great property,
Great property.
27 Lovely Street in Lovelyton.
27 Lovely Street. I love that place. I love the trees there. They're lovely. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so a couple of things. When you go into the property, please be mindful not to goo and gar too much with the agent because the agent's going to be looking at you going and garring. Don't sit on the furniture and certainly don't start touching the kitchen tops and talking about where you're going to put the settee because you are ruining your buy position straight away. You have already emotionally invested and you can be darn sure that the agent knows that. Go in, say nothing, touch nothing, be polite, don't be disrespectful to the agent under any circumstances because he won't work with you. Ask for a copy of the Section 32 straight away and send that through to your conveyancer immediately. The reason why I say that is because you want to make sure that there's nothing in or around or near that property that's going to disadvantage you in your purchasing. I always call council. Do you do this? Do you recommend your clients do this?
Council and water as well. There are often drains, etc., laid outside easements. So if you go to your water authority down our side of the city, it's Yarra Valley Water,
Yep.
you can get a lot more information than will appear in the Section 32.
I always say ring council because, particularly I'm in the 20-minute ring and there's a lot of high-rise development and apartment development. You want to know what the restrictions are beside you and near you. And when you're standing next to that beautiful home, you want to kind of make sure, look at it like if I was a developer, could I build an apartment building next door to me, behind me and beside me? And you want to get some clarity around that. Always phone the council and have a conversation with them.
Definitely.
Conveyancer, water, council, and also your lender. Get onto your lender straight away. and just say, look, we found a property if you're not already pre-approved. Most of the developers out there, most of the homeowners out there are pretty understanding around subject to finance. If they're not going to take a subject to finance, you don't want to buy it. You want to have, look, and you'll agree with me on this, Mel, your valuer going through and checking that property for and on your behalf is really important. I kind of skipped a step, the offer, eh? Let's do offer. Do your offering with your agent in person. You must have that agent must come to your home and sit with you with a contract. You do not want any of this over the phone, back and forth malarkey, because if he takes something from you verbally, it's actually not an offer. It's actually a suggestion that you like the house and gee, isn't it lovely on Lovely Street? But it's not actually an offer. And he can do a lot of stuff with stuff over the phone, i.e., you can start playing with other buyers and shafting around. And you don't want anyone doing that with your home because you're in love with it. Have him come in, sign a contract, and have him run the offer. Do you agree with that, Mel?
Absolutely. So, what we see in terms of offers, certainly over my way, and most of them work this way, is with your agent, you go in to them or they come to you and you put everything that is your, as a purchaser, best deal forward. So, do you want finance? Do you want building, pest? In that contract, you sign that contract, and then that becomes your offer. Is that what you're finding, Liz?
Yeah, so I haven't worked in the established market for a long time, but when I did, I was a bit good at what I did, really, if you don't mind me saying. Um, can I say something to you as a purchaser? What you need to understand is that there are two really important factors inside negotiation. One is money, and the other one is time. And people don't realize that time is as valuable as money. So if there's a really gorgeous house and you like the look of it and it's in Lovely Street and you kind of think that the owner wants to get out of that position really well, say they've bought somewhere else and you have an inkling that they might have bridging finance, you want to go in there and give them an offer that's indicative of you moving your world really quickly so you can take over that property. So it might be that you say, look, I'm going to offer you a lot less money for this home, but I'm going to move really quickly. And you have those two battens to negotiate with. You know, I've had dealings with clients that have been so in love with a property that they've actually lost focus on what they have and offered, and I think have paid well and truly above the odds because they're so emotionally invested. You want to be emotionally invested, but you want to be very, very logical on what it is you're offering them. If you're getting someone out of a noose, they need to pay you for you getting them out of the noose. Now,
Definitely.
there's some questions you can ask your agent, like how long's it been on the market? Have they purchased elsewhere? Are they ready to move now? How can we help these clients move on? You want to just start getting a gauge on what's going to work inside of your negotiation before you start putting money down. Look, you can't, once you've put $1 down, you can't give less than that. So you want all that information up front. And you don't want to give them all your money. You agree with that, Mel?
Yes, I agree with that totally. And it does help to be a bit more impartial about it. Like you said, don't be working out where you're going to put your couch, these sorts of things. Because sometimes it is too good to be true. I had a property recently. It's always too good to be true. So I had a property recently that one of my purchasers wanted to buy. Beautiful property, very emotionally invested in it. Thank goodness we talked them into getting a pest and a building report, because when they went through the property, the pest and building people, they found out the entire thing was riddled with termites so badly you would have to gut the whole property. And I had a bit of an inkling that there was something not quite right when I looked at the history of the property, and it had only been purchased 6 months earlier. And it had been purchased by somebody who ran their own building company. So I was thinking already, what does he know? What has he found in that property that they want to offload it in 6 months? And sometimes it's something wrong with the property, but sometimes it's something wrong with your vendor. Are they involved in a matrimonial dispute? Are they about to go bankrupt? Those sorts of things really play into the time factor that you're talking about as well.
Yeah, it's always either, we've got a saying when I was training in real estate years ago, onks, when we used to get around on
Onks.
horses. It's either death, divorce, or the bank. And that's usually the
Yes,
main three reasons why people get out of, are looking to sell. That's really interesting. Do you know what? I do not ever buy an established property without a building and pest inspection, ever.
I agree.
We had one of those. An uncle of mine came over from New Zealand and to Queensland and bought a property, and established one up there, and didn't get the building inspectors in. And it same problem, lost all their money on a home that was riddled with termites. Um, yeah, I think, look, be sensible. It's a lot of money. You don't have to go slowly. If the agent starts using information like, or words like, oh, there's a lot of interest and we've had a lot of buyers and things like that, don't run away with him, because, or her. She's trying to hold your hand and run you up money street, so you will tip all of your money over this property. Just
Yes, let's
go
remember
gently.
who the agents work for, who's paying them. They might seem like they're on your side, and they're lovely people for the main part, and they do want to help you get into a property, but they have the vendor's interests at heart.
Exactly right. So look, if you're out there and you're in love with something, you need a hand, please come through to us at Got Money. We're here to help you, as is Melanie from Southeast Lawyers, who's our great guest. Thank you for joining me today on Got Money, Melanie. Very important topics today. Obviously, home builders is one of our favourites. We will touch on it again next week when they change legislation on us again. Take care,
Always.
everybody. Have a lovely Christmas, Melanie. I don't think I'll be seeing you again till after the ho ho ho.
Oh, well, that's sad.
Sad. Oh,
Oh,
but we'll be back next year with lots of exciting things. Um,
yes, we
if
will.
if anybody needs us, please reach out to us. Take care, everyone. Stay safe, and